34-year-old Sandra is one of 60,000 heroin addicts in the East Coast city of Baltimore. She lives in this abandoned and dilapidated row house on the west side of the city. She agreed to let us follow her for part of a day.
This is where a lot of people do sleep when they get high here.
Sandra first tried heroin 6 years ago. Since then, her life has been in steady decline.
Yeah. This is what a normal junkie's purse looks like, all paraphernalia. Hypes.
Her life is consumed by one thing, feeding her addiction.
That's only a half a pill because I did the other half earlier. But that's what heroin is.
Afghanistan, Burma, and Colombia produce most of the world's heroin. The United Nations estimates there are 8 million addicts worldwide. Baltimore is known for its neighborhoods with charming row houses, but the port city north of Washington, D.C. is also known as the heroin capital of the U.S. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA, says 1 in 10 of the city's 600,000 residents is a heroin addict. Carl Katowski is Assistant Special Agent in charge of the DEA's Baltimore office.
The heroin that is being distributed right now in Baltimore City is not very expensive whatsoever. So that makes it very lucrative for the abusers.
You just put it in there.
Most of the heroin in Baltimore comes from South America and Central Asia.
You just squirt it in your cooker.
Sandra says she doesn't care where her drugs come from. She says heroin does not give her a high anymore. Her concern is the painful withdrawal she feels when her body craves more heroin.
Like breaks down everything together.
She has been arrested 3 times and spent 6 months in jail. Sue Doyle, an addiction counselor in Carroll County, Maryland, which borders Baltimore, says that is common.
Once they become addicted, they now have to chase the drug. And so it becomes not any fun anymore because they're out and they're just constantly looking for that drug, looking for money to get the drug. They start doing things that they said they'd never do. They're stealing from their parents. They're stealing from their neighbors. They're prostituting themselves.
Sandra survives by working as a street prostitute. She says she needs to see 3 clients a day to earn enough money for drugs and food. She says violence is a constant threat.
I've had a knife put to me, had my money robbed. But as far as like really getting beat up, I did have a trick tried. It's what we call our dates, tricks. Actually tried to rape me, and that was a weird experience. This is what somebody's legs look like that shoots drugs for a long period of time.
Sandra has health problems related to her addiction.
Alcohol pads.
She has endocarditis, an infection of the heart lining. Her hepatitis C can damage her liver and lead to cirrhosis. Her teeth are rotting. All are common for heroin addicts.
Push it in. And that's that.
When we asked Sandra if she would ever stop using heroin, she had this to say.
I'm hoping I end up in a rehab before I end up out here dead, but I really don't know.
Sue Doyle says there are 4 options for addicts: death, jail, hospitalization, or rehab. She says rehab is probably the most difficult.
Most of our clients don't get recovery on the first try. It's a chronic long-term disease. We correlate it to diabetes or high blood pressure. You don't give one treatment and say you're done.
Sandra recently tried to enter a city rehab clinic. She was turned away. In Baltimore, the wait list is more than a month long.
Use spoons as cookers.
For now, Sandra remains on the streets, surviving day by day and living with addiction as best she can. Jeff Swicord, VOA News, Baltimore.